Hey YouTube, good morning. It's Beta 9.1, Memorial Park Drive, and first impressions time. So the download came about an hour early last night. I think it started dropping around 2 a.m. Eastern, which would have been 11 p.m. Pacific. That's when I first noticed it. Taking a right turn here at an unprotected right. It's 7 a.m. just about, so going to be a little lighter traffic than usual. Didn't need to stop there if it wanted to stay in the right lane, but I'll give it a break. Got a car coming in the right lane, but it's doing good. All right. That was nice for an unprotected right. Low traffic. In other words, the trajectory was good. Picking the gap wasn't very hard. Anyway, so the beta came down on time. It is build 2021.4.18.13, so we're still on the fork from the branch from the fourth week, and just one iteration from .12 to .13, and the release notes didn't have really anything other than the major enhancements that were introduced in V9. So nothing in the release notes was new. So I guess it's just minor bug fixes. So I guess we're going to have to figure out what changed just by watching it. So that's what we're going to do the Memorial Park Drive and see what we see. Like I said, it is a little bit early, so it's probably going to not be a little bit of a jerk there to the left in that intersection. A lot of traffic interactions, maybe a few pedestrians out walking this time of day. This light is a flashing yellow at the moment. There's not many people behind me, so it slowed a little more than I would have on that lane, but it didn't come to a stop. It was clearly yellow. The cars behind me were curious why I slowed down so much, but it proceeded. Okay, here's where I've been disconnecting to force the right turn. So since it's a red light, I'm just going to go ahead and let it do the full stop. I'm going to turn on the blinker here just for my... Okay, disconnecting and then turning to the right. And once it remaps, I'll re-engage. All right, here we go. Yesterday, right when I re-engaged, it did a little bit of a swerve. Not sure exactly what caused that. I know that when you're introducing Navigate and autopilot with city streets, sometimes it has to refine the lines. That time I was already in between the lines and it did just fine. Okay, here's another downside of me being out so early. Some of these stoplights and protecteds are now flashers. So here is a flashing yellow for now an unprotected left with no traffic, and it appropriately rolled it. So that's good. It didn't stop. Kind of wide on that turn. It was within the lane lines, but it kind of went a little wide. Wide there. Right, here's the spot where the parking space is on the right. Still no change there, it looks like. Here's a few more coming up. Yeah, no change. But it's staying in its lane. It's not using those spaces over there as drivable space, which is good. Now, I'm not sure if it's doing that because of hugging the left line or actually recognizing that that's not drivable space. I'm not sure on that. A little bit of a lane change there with no blinker, and now I am in the wrong lane to go. Oh, it remapped going to the right today. I'm just going to let it go. This is the exact scenario with running the red light. I've got a green arrow to the right here today. Interesting how the mapping wanted to go this way today. Okay, I just had to come back and try to recreate this scenario at the stoplight because it was killing me to know. So if I clip this into the video and at the end of the video I refer to not being able to do it, I apologize for that. Just realize I came back to try to recreate this scenario. And it looks like I've got the scenario right now, but unfortunately there's a lead car. So let's see what happens here. It needs to go straight, but I've got a lead car that is correctly stopped and the light just turned green. So that didn't exactly recreate it. Red light with a green arrow. It needs to stop. Okay, it did it again. All right, so it's still trying to run the red light. Unfortunate that it looked like it was slowed down further than it did yesterday, but it still kind of got confused and ran that red light. I may throw in one more clip. Red light with a green arrow. It needs to stop. Okay, it did it again. All right, so it's still trying to run the red light. Unfortunate that it looked like it was slowed down further than it did yesterday, but it still kind of got confused and ran that red light. I may throw in one more clip. Okay, take 3. I just wanted one more cut of this red light to give it a chance to pass through it. 2 reds, green arrow. I'm proceeding straight. Definitely slowing. Definitely slowing. I got a yellow arrow that time and it stopped too early. Okay, so it stopped that time, not at the stop line, but it also stopped when the green arrow went away. So that green arrow is definitely why it was proceeding straight. So there's a perception issue for sure when the green arrow is pointing to this right turn lane. The car was perceiving it as permission and controlling, going straight ahead. So you can see the green, maybe you can't, but the green arrow and both greens turned and it's proceeding. So it did that correctly when it lost the green arrow and it was all red. Okay, I'm trying to recreate the scenario exactly where there's 2 reds and 1 green and I'm going straight. I think I might have it this time. Okay, it's slowing. 22, 23, 19, 18. And it stopped and now it's going. Okay, so with those runs, I think I was able to adequately reproduce it. That green arrow that's still showing there, even though this is controlling, is telling it I can proceed. So I think those few scenarios I'll throw there in the middle of this clip. I apologize at the end of the video. I think I comment about the stoplight as if I wasn't going to run that a few more times. Please ignore that. You know me, I can't pass up a good opportunity to do a repeat test. Okay, it used a blinker on an S-curve. It's done that a little bit in the past. This is not a situation you need a blinker, but it's doing the blinker again. It's doing a good job on the S-curve, with the exception of the blinkers. It keeps thinking it needs to do that. I don't know how to necessarily tell them to fix that. We've mentioned it millions of times, it feels like. Millions is an exaggeration, of course, but all right, we've got a car coming off of a stop sign here, going left. Looks like that car is waiting. So far, so good. The because it didn't go straight through that red light in there, we missed a couple of those flashers, and we missed a couple of the stop signs and the turns in there. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I might catch a few of those on the way back. But the neighborhood and the terrain is basically the same. I think it's doing a good job with lane management. I don't have any problems with that. Not seeing any different visualizations yet. I'm not sure if anybody watching the video has seen anything new. Flashing yellow here, similar to the one on the other street. Let's see how it does this one. It looks like it paused a little bit. That was nice. It didn't flinch. One interesting thing about these yellow flashers that a few of the comments folks have made is about the color that's perceived based on the cameras. And I wonder if, you know, being out here kind of in the just after sunrise lighting scenario, if those yellows are much more robust. Okay, we got a stoplight with a left turn here. Okay, it's got its blinker on. It's in the left lane appropriately. So this turn, just in preparation for it, it's got to turn left and then immediately right. So I'm in the left turn lane, and I've got to jump over to the right lane pretty quickly. It's not part of this my normal scenario necessarily, but it is a good use case to see how Navigator and Autopilot will handle it. It can get itself in a bind if the car behind me, and there is a car behind me, and it's protected. All right, I've got a protected arrow, and I'm having to tap it. So I had to tap the accelerator there to get it to go. Now it needs to get in the right lane, and it did that just fine. And pretty. I think it was waiting on that car coming out of the hospital there, even though I had a green arrow. So that was a little bit of a bust, I would say, not recognizing that you had the green arrow protected. The only reason I didn't sit there a little longer is I had a car right behind me, and that would have happened pretty quick if I hadn't have proceeded. All right, did a good job getting in this lane here. You can see up there I had a green arrow, but nothing green ever showed up on the screen here. I'm not sure how they're going to handle that in future visualizations. I feel they need to have a compound traffic light signal somehow. Braking action there for something I didn't see. Not much. Ooh, gosh, that was close to that sign. It didn't hit it, but it was close. Coming up on this obscured stoplight, it's still slowing down until it can see it, and then it sees it and it proceeds. So that behavior's been repeatable pretty much with that stoplight there behind that oak tree. Okay, we've reached our destination here at Memorial Park at the end of leg one. Gosh, I think it is obviously low traffic. I don't like to sit here and say, oh my gosh, it's so much better, when I really didn't give it an identical scenario. It did feel pretty smooth. The turn, well, that one turn was still a little bit wide, and the route was slightly different, so I didn't get that running the red light scenario exactly like I did yesterday. I can't say that I saw anything specific that I know is drastically different. Maybe just a little bit of smoothness built in there. Let me reprogram leg two and we'll head back. GoPro. All right, here we go, leg 2. Okay, got a car coming. It needs to wait. Okay, it's wide open now. Not sure what the steering wheel is doing here, why it was creeping like that. Kind of rolling there. Getting in its lane there. Fine. Not a really strong commitment there, but it wasn't required for the scenario. It just kind of went out in the street, kind of worked its way across, and then made the hard left. So it did fine. It didn't have any sort of acceleration that was required to solve that problem. So I'm not exactly sure. Stay in the right lane to go straight through this intersection. It's just fine there. All right, we've got a lead car kind of for the first time, and it's still staying the same dark gray. See how yesterday it cut this corner just a little bit, and it didn't do it there because there was a car on the other side. So it did a nice job staying in the lane there. Got a pedestrian on the street. Still no mapping of the yard trash in the street. I just saw another pile of leaves and trash bags on the curb, and there was no mapping of that, as we noticed yesterday. Almost crossed the yellow line there, so it definitely is willing to cross the yellow line when it sees it's clear to go around those cars. Flashing yellow here kind of obscured. The color was correct. It proceeded without any sort of braking on that one. That was good. Alright, and we got a right turn and then a left turn here. Blinker's good. Radius of that turn was just fine. It was good. Okay, this is a two-way stop sign, so you got to yield right away to the opposite direction traffic. Blinker looks good. See if it goes up to the stop line and creeps. I can't see yet, so it needs to creep a little further. I'm leaning as far forward as I can. Okay, I can just now see leaning forward, and it's clear. That was fine. That was good. All right, this is one of those scenarios. Yesterday, you notice we have 2 lanes of traffic, even though it's not divided. Since I'm going straight, I need to be hugged over to the left. I am hugged over to the left enough so someone could get by me on the right, which is good. This is the intersection we had the other day. You can see on the opposite side where I needed to turn right, and I was in that left lane turning right. So that's kind of the visualization of that intersection from yesterday. All right, coming back up on our double flashing yellow lights. You can even see them nested up there. They're not really obscured. See when we see them. I think that this lighting scenario, it did have a little bit of red. Okay, yellow, yellow. It didn't slow down at all. It proceeded right at its speed. Now there's 2 yellow lights here. It showed red, but it just braked a little bit, went from 33 to 29, but proceeded. So the action was correct. The visualization did show some red. Not sure how it's deciding to interpret that or not, but so that's quite a few yellow flashers today, and it's not overreacted at any of them. So that's perhaps an improvement. All right, I think it slowed down for the pedestrians, perhaps by those cars. Got multiple joggers over here on the left. I'm not really interfering at all. Okay, coming up on this next intersection with a stoplight is that construction zone where the car kind of got confused based on mapping and then corrected with vision last time. Let's see what happens today. Well, actually, they've cleaned up all the construction. Disregard, I'm sorry. Since I drove this last, they've fixed this construction. All right, I've got a green light, and ooh, it still got a little bit jerk there. Now, that was a little bit... All right, so it didn't do anything illegal, but to that oncoming car, I probably looked like I could have been going in their lane. It was swerving in kind of an uncomfortable spot in the middle of the scenario. It looked like vision was just trying to find its path until it did. It found its path, and it was in the correct one and never probably really left the legal lane of travel, but a little bit swervy, to use a weird word. Okay, we're coming back up to this first intersection we had where it was a flashing yellow creating an unprotected left. From this direction, it's a flashing red, which equates a 4-way stop. So it should stop at the stop line, check for visibility, use the blinker, and turn left. Okay, it's got the blinker. It's definitely coming to a stop. Went all the way to 0. I do have a pedestrian over here. Okay, she's not crossing the stop walk. There's nobody behind me, but I don't know if you can see this. Use accelerator or gear stalk to continue. So maybe this is a scenario where FSD isn't going to proceed on its own. So I'll just hit the stalk so you guys can see I hit it, and then it proceeded. So honestly, that approval right there, while I don't think it needed it right there, that is the functionality that I think is going to enable the wider release of FSD beta. There's just some scenarios where if they just implemented that concurrence, I think that this could be deployed safely. I think that should probably be on all unprotected left turns right now, and then eventually work itself off. All right, coming up on the drawbridge, got some more pedestrians there. Slowing down for that curve, that was good. All right, the drawbridge is down and there's no boats, so it should just proceed straight through this like a green light. Very good. Not much in here, it's kind of drawing the curbs correctly. And nothing unusual about bridges, really. All right, this is my wacky 5-way intersection that I've done a few times where coming from this direction, that's a little bit of a blind turn, just to give you reference. All right, so this turn up here is a flashing yellow only to kind of give you caution that it's a tight turn. So we're coming at it at 40. Let's see how the car intends on handling it. Flashing, oh, it showed a little bit of red there also, so it safely brought it all the way down to 18 miles an hour for the turn. That was great. I don't have any problems with the way that handled it. I've seen that intersection get a little bit wonky with traffic, but with no traffic, it did just fine. And we're coming up on our destination for the end of leg 2. Okay. Well, so I I have to say it did a good job. I mean, there were definitely some things there that, you know, I had to kind of intervene a little bit with the accelerator at that one stoplight with the protected left that it didn't see. The yellow lights were fine today. I didn't have a lot of traffic interaction, so that's kind of been my opinion the whole time with FSD9, is that it works really, really good in kind of the land of the Walking Dead where there's no cars around. You know, if I was the only car on the road, this software is pretty good right now. So this is kind of a first impressions video, mostly for you guys to take a look at the screen to see what you see, maybe listen to a little bit of what I feel with the steering wheel. I'm gonna give it an improvement vote right now. You know, first drive, I think it felt like it handled some of those scenarios better. I wish the interaction with that stoplight that it ran the red light yesterday had been repeated. I may do that again a little bit later just to see. But in any case, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. I have a little bit of time today, so I'll probably do some unprotected left stuff today. Hopefully I can get the drone up and flying too, if my drone operator is available. And we'll push a few videos out for those of you binge watching Beta 9.1. Have a great day.